everybody, and welcome to Devils United. We're back again for a debate show, and this time it is the false nine the way forward for winning trophies? And we've got a couple of great guests with me today. Rodz, how are you doing?
I am very well. Pleasure to be on this show, love. Pleasure to be on this show.
It's always a pleasure to have you on, Rodz. And Naz is also here. How are you doing?
Yeah, big up everyone. Bless up everyone in the chat. Everyone tuning in. My two panelists here as well. I'm the panelist, but yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Can't complain. It's a good Friday. It is Good Friday, right?
It is
Yeah,
Good
yeah, yeah. But
Friday.
you don't
It's always
celebrate
a
that,
good
do you,
Friday.
bro? You don't celebrate that, do you?
Nah. I mean, what is it to
That's why.
celebrate?
That's why when you was in the group and when you was in the chat earlier on, I never said Happy Good Friday because I know you don't celebrate it. Still, I thought, yeah, I don't want to diss the brother.
Every
Still,
Friday is good for me. You know, don't want Fridays all day here still.
Well,
Friday's
I've been
payday, man.
doing Good Friday. I've not had any meat today, so had my jacket potato, and that half of it went down my shirt. So that's why, as Naz said, I'm wearing the enemy shirt.
The enemy.
Before we do go on to the topic, we'll quickly jump into the chat. Good evening, Niall. Thanks for coming in. Hope you are well. Just as Niall said, and Sophia, hit that like button, share, subscribe button, and also check out Sophia's channel as well as Rod's, as well as Naz's. They're both in the link description, so give them a subscribe if you haven't already. Hey there, Ravi. Thanks for coming in. Hope that you are well. Ravi and Niall's already got a few questions which we'll jump into soon. And Ravi has also said Liverpool has used Bobby for a false nine for years. And I know you probably watched that yourself, Rob.
Yeah. It works out well because I think what he does, he does. There's two parts to his game. Do you know what I mean? He links up play and he also defends as well. So he will go back into midfield, making that a five-man midfield when we're defending, and then obviously when we're attacking, he will link up the play, making it obviously a three-man midfield. You know what I mean? It's a five-man midfield. Obviously, if you're playing like obviously a 4-3-1 and stuff like that. But yeah, he will do that stuff. He will do that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Curlers is in the chat. Hey there, Curlers. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. The whole debate of the false nine to an out-and-out striker will always depend on formations. In the modern forward has played multiple roles in the 4-3-3, which I think is a very interesting point as well. One of your subscribers is in the chat as well there, Rod.
Oh yeah, big up. Oh yeah, but
Yeah, man, big up. Yeah.
Red and Blue channel show.
Yeah, he's a good guy. This guy, good guy.
And hey there, Reese. Thank you for coming in. I hope that you are well. Burnley Middlesbrough on tonight also. And hey there, Snoppy GGG. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. I like the false nine. So we'll go on about the false nine, the striker. Because you're looking at, say if you was watching everyone here's watched football in the last 10 years or so, and when we watched the football back in 2010, for instance, it's so different because it feels like you need to have a striker on the pitch. Like you've got to have a Ruud van Nistelrooy, you've got to have a Robin van Persie, you've got to have a Luis Suarez, and in Chelsea's case, you've got to have a Drogba. And I think that is all completely changed now. And what do you think about that, Rods?
Yeah, I think it has changed. I think it's changed for the better. I think what is with the false nine, they're doing much more work in the game. Do you know what I mean? To bring that results. Do you know what I mean? Even if you look at Harry Kane, Harry Kane is a striker, but look what he does. He links up well with Song and everything and he's down in midfield picking up ball, and he gets the ball and then he ping out to the left, he ping out to the right, and you know what I mean. When he gets the chances, then he's in there heading the back of net or kicking the back of net. So I think with the false nine, it's brought more variation to the game, and it's made the game a bit more exciting to watch. When you had the likes of obviously your Michael Owen, and as I said, and even as I said, you Van Nistelrooy and stuff like that, they were strikers in the day. So all they did, most of what they did, and they stay up front, receive the ball, back in the net. Do you know what I mean? And what you're seeing now with the false nine, you're seeing a false nine run from deep, picking up the ball, running from deep and everything, taking on some play. All right, Firmino played against Arsenal, yeah, about 1 or 2 seasons ago, and basically what happened, and then we went 1-0 down, yeah, Anyway, so like he scores a goal, and then he scores the second one is where he picked up the ball and he basically he sat 2 defenders on their arse and put the ball in the back of the net. That's what your false nine gives you. The false nine gives you that at the net where you run from deep in the front, take on the players in the front, and either lay it off or he score himself. Do you know what I mean? So it's adding more variation to the game, I think.
What's your opinion on that as well, Naz? Because I have always thought that with Chelsea, just looking at it from a Chelsea point, like outside the box with Chelsea, is you haven't really had the proper number 9 since Drogba, and you've always relied on more on false nines to play in that position.
I mean, other than the Diego Costa stint, that's what I call it. I call it a stint because I don't want to go back into that, but him and Conte and the whole Chelsea thing just blew up. He's actually playing against us this week. If he scores, it'll be the most ever former players to score against a former club ever in one season. So hopefully he doesn't score. He doesn't join the long list of Emerson and Mandem. But other than those two, honestly, like we've just given up. If we do have a number 9, we've given up on him and got to the false 9. It works sometimes, though. We've done some sexy football during that era. I remember Hazard and Oscar, and just everyone getting in. I remember the main benefit it had for us was, if we had a stinker up front, the false 9 suited us because we knew we were going to get a lot from our strikers. And on top of that, the injury crisis, which has always been at Chelsea, but it's been more so this season, it kind of helped with that. You get your one main man injured, you're screwed in it. But if you're already in that false 9 system, one injury doesn't change everything. You're not reliant on that one goal scorer. And yeah, man, Chelsea are now completely giving up on that. I feel like we're going to go for a normal striker this season. I think you're going to see Lampard try to put Aubameyang on. You see him jogging with him now, giving him a little Chinese whispers and talking to each other, all friendly. So let's see if we could carry that on because I don't see us working the false 9. We've given up on that. I feel like you, man, are still trying Liverpool. And with your striking issues, you'll probably move to that as well. But I do rate players like Harry Kane. But then you see Haaland. The other day, he missed that game. People actually say they're playing better. You hear stuff like that. I'm like, I don't know. For me personally, I prefer Haaland if I was. I'm a Chelsea fan, so I want him. If Man City didn't really want him like that, and they think they're better without him, by all means, give him to us. Like we'll have him all day. But that's right now who's the big debater. It's like, are they better without Haaland? Can they play the false 9 without him, or are they better having the main man up front? And yeah, I mean, it's an interesting time how the transition in football. Even the OGs of the game, like Klopp and Pep, have admitted they've got to change their tactics around. So let's see what happens. Huh? What do you think about it?
I think for me, with the false 9, it offers some benefits. However, it doesn't offer other benefits. Like you look at pace. Pace is a big factor what takes into consideration because if, for example, you're a counter-attacking team, like there's been plenty of times where Manchester United has been on the counter-attack and they've got Marcus Rashford up top. And that's really beneficial because you've got the link-up that play there if it's like Rashford or if it's Bruno or if it's Anthony. And I think that really helps to have that a bit of pace as the up front.
I mean,
do also think... Anthony. But I also think with false 9s under the same breath, like you look at a striker like Harry Kane, he rarely ever misses a sitter. Whereas with false 9s, it's more likely that they are. You see more misses in the false 9 area, like a simple tapping, and it's like, how did you miss that? And that's the kind of frustration that you get. And I also think about headers. There's not many false 9s who have got is terrific in the air.
But something. Just one to cut you. I think it depends on who you are.
That's
what I mean? Because something of that, right? Suarez at the end of the day, they used him as a false 9, and Suarez hardly missing any chances. I could probably remember him missing like probably 1 or 2 chances he missed. Do you know what I mean? All the rest of the day was certain goals. There were literally certain goals in the field. So I think it depends on who the player is. Do you know what I mean? Some players at the day, whether they play like a false 9 or a striker, they've just got an eye for goal. Literally just got eye for goal. And they come on the pitch and this is what they do. They just like score your goals and everything like that. I mean, remember one time, remember the same game when we played Arsenal, we beat them 5-1, yeah? Suarez, at the end of the day, got the man of the match for that. Do you know what I mean?
5-1, yeah. Jeez, treating him like Norwich. But have you noticed? Yeah, all the real nines are all tall. Like I'm not saying Drogba was mad tall, but he was an aerial. But all the false nines are small guys who are really fast.
Yeah.
Who's coming for Wegos, man? Somebody's coming for Wegos.
It was really safe. Wegos is a false nine, a false goal scorer.
That's messed up, you know. That's messed up.
He may have the body type of Haaland, but he's not a finisher like him, man. Far from it, man.
Four score.
He is the only striker who is so poor in the air. I was like, he's got his link up.
How can he be that tall and just not a beast in the aerially? I just don't get it.
That's what I'm saying.
That one got me, you know.
He's got his pace. He's good with his pressing. He's good with his link-up play. He can't score, and I've never seen him ever win a header. Like I've seen people who's mouth smaller than him who's winning headers against him.
You say that, yeah, but Lisandro Martinez, he's not tall, but he's got some crazy aerial ability. I'm like, how's this guy out competing these 6'5" guys, man?
No, but I think he just has one of them high reaches, hasn't he? When
super jump,
yeah, a proper super jump. He could go with the long jump in the Olympics one day, maybe. Going on to the traditional striker as well, because we did touch on slightly with Harry Kane, and we've seen Conte, especially in the Premier League, is that it's more about counter-attacking football when it comes to Spurs, because most likely he's got no other choice, and he's got like Son there, Richarlison, who goes on the counter. But the problem is what I've noticed, a traditional number 9, they're not very quick. So even though Harry Kane's brilliant at his finishing, he's not able to catch up when they're on the counter. What's your thoughts on that, Rodz?
Yeah, you have got a point there. He's not obviously quick enough to get the counter, but then again, you got some players that play a false 9 and they're rapid. Do you know what I mean? As soon as they lay off that ball and they're gone. Do you know what I mean? They're gone and they're up there. But yeah, that is one of the things that you can get in the day with players that play a false 9, that he's not quick enough to get up there, and you know, because he's probably so busy and then they're knitting things in midfield and trying to knit the attack. You know what I mean? Because I noticed that with Harry Kane, and he's so busy and knitting the midfield and so busy knitting that attack for Song. Because he probably expects Song to run on. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Run on and score that goal. Because Song's another false 9, I reckon. You know what I mean? False 9 that comes off the flanks and obviously goes in and score goals and stuff. Do you know what I mean? He's phenomenal. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's sometimes that when they're so busy and they're doing one thing, they haven't got time to do the other. Firmino don't get up there and then they sort of like score goals, much goals, because he's so busy knitting things in midfield, knitting play together so the team can tick. You know what I mean? He probably expects like Salah to score the goal, or when Mane was there, Mane scored a goal, and if he gets his chance, he'll probably score a goal. You know what I mean? You know. So yeah, you are right.
I mean, Rooney used to play a bit like Kane, especially in the later part of his career. He started becoming a bit of a midfielder, setting up the other brothers, making sure they get their crazy goal tallies, which he done, and he also got always a few more goals during that. But you need a right set, you need a perfect setup, and it never seems to last long. It's almost like the false 9 has a high demand. Like they're doing midfield work, and now they also expect it to be a striker, and then go back there and transition back and forth throughout the game for weeks upon end of all these games. You get like a couple. I mean, you guys got a lot of years out of it. I feel like Tottenham got about 3 years out of Son. I don't rate him this season. You know, he's still good, but he's not last season or the season before when you had Lucas Moura and there's 2 Speedy Gonzalez's and then Harry Kane up there. It doesn't last long. Like even for us, man, Hazard broke down. Pedro was good for a season and a half. Yeah, a lot from them, it seems.
There's a lot. I find out it's a lot of demand, as you say, and you can the live shovel is only probably it's about a couple of years and then they sort of like they digress. You know what I mean? They slow down, and it's because at the day they are literally doing a lot of work. Because you think about it, they're knitting the play together, and they're probably expected to score as well. Do you know what I mean? And it's a lot.
I'm telling you, speedy goals. When I think about it, it's like they're all so fast and just running back and forth. Like And obviously, when you got these crazy amount of games, and you know what's mad, yeah, they always, whenever you get the false nine perfected, it always becomes like clockwork. It becomes like they'll do it for 1 year straight, every game, almost like it's like a style embedded into them. And it's like, oh, what happened? It's like it just goes overnight. It's crazy, right?
Yeah, fact. No, fact. You are right, and it's you know what I mean. It's just it's. I think really entertaining there. All right, that's what's messed us up really, because we was like last season and they was playing with a false nine, and look how much games we played last season. We played nearly
Every
70
game possible,
games.
no?
Yeah,
We played every game possible.
Exactly. So like you know what I mean. And what's that? You got You got 38 games in the league and everything like that, right? Then you got like another bunch at the end in Champions League that we had to play. Another bunch in the League Cup we had to play. Another bunch in the FA Cup to play. That's going to take the toll on any player, and you got on the team. So yes, at the end of the day, it's true what you're saying. And think that right, you'll get that season and day where you know the number 9 works like that. It just works like that. Everybody knows what to do. Even if the false 9, it just works like that. But then the following season and they could be a detriment because at the end of the day you played so many games last season. Do you know what I mean? And the false 9 and there does a lot more work than a striker because as we was talking backstage and everything that, whereas they've got the striker and they that stays up top and everything that receives that ball and that and packs it top bin, lower bin or whatever. You know what I mean? The false 9 and the makes all that work, and plus expecting to score. Do you know what I mean? So
and you can make a little change in the false 9. And it doesn't make a difference almost. One player, if you change your striker, your main guy on that day, you're basically done for. I mean, unless you're City, who could do both. But like you know, they took Harry Kane on and put on some next youngs. They wouldn't work well. Like, but you guys could put on Diaz for a game or put Jota on for a game. Just make one little change. Even we used to do it with Oscar instead of Hazard or Pedro or Willian, whatever. It worked. But the main striker, bro, you need to be so on point when you're relying on. That's why I think Tottenham's come to an end. Once Kane goes, I mean, they're not going to get another Bale or another Kane. That's such a coincidence if they get another one. I'll be damn shocked, like 3 in a row. Let's see.
If Kane and Son goes, there's stuff.
Forget Son, bro. Just Kane. If Kane goes United, you guys are going to be cooking. That's like a Van Persie move to me.
Yeah, we were saying that about it could be another Van Persie because we haven't really had like a young striker in so long either, and we've been saying like we've been having like Edinson Cavani, brilliant number 9. You've got Zlatan Ibrahimovic, fantastic number 9, but you don't have the younger type of like even Robin Van Persie. He was 29, 30 when he first got. He was getting old,
But he was a bit older. Like that's why I say Kane will give you at least one season. I feel like Van Persie gave you like a season and a half, but he got injured, so he don't really count as much.
And then Louis van Gaal didn't want him in the end. But I just look at, for instance, the striker in itself, because we're talking about like Harry Kane and we're talking about ones from the past, and I'm literally thinking to my mind, apart from Erling Haaland, who is a proper out-and-out number 9 now? Realistically, because you even see Darwin Núñez, he's being shifted over to the left.
They don't play him like that. They don't play Núñez like Benfica did.
Yeah, but that would change. That will change next season. One of the reasons why you got sort of like Darwin Núñez playing on the left is because of like Luis Diaz. He's been injured. You know what I mean? Once Luis Diaz comes back in, you'll find out that Darwin Núñez will play more central. You know what I mean?
Jota's going as well, you think?
I totally forgot about Osimhen.
Oh, and you think Jota's going?
Well, I don't. I don't know. He's wanted by Newcastle, but somehow I don't see that happening. I think at the end of the day, it's all like
can't sell to your competition and make them.
That's what I'm trying to say. I think basically at the end of the day, it's all like they could probably pick up a lot of money for him, but I think basically Klopp sees him in his plans for next season. If Touchwood Klopp is there next season, because if Klopp's not there next season, he might just go. I mean, and you don't know. You don't know whether at the end of the day. I'm not saying that I want Klopp to go because as you can see up top there, Klopp in, right? I'm not saying to go, but you never know what can happen next season. If they get a new manager or something like that, and the manager will come in and say, right, I don't like this guy, let's get in something else. You know what I mean? It goes like that. So we have to see, won't we? We have to see. But to me at the end of the day, so they're only playing sort of like Núñez there at the day because of like Luis Diaz being out. Next season that will change. It will be more central next season. Then no, it might play a 4-4-2. You never know.
But do you think the 4-4-2 is getting a bit outdated though? Like, I'm not a fan of the 4-4-2. 4-4-2 like gives me like 2008 Man United vibes. It gives me Burnley Sean Dyche vibes. It doesn't give me nice vibes.
Oh, man.
I'm one of the type of people where I'm like, I just keep it plain and simple, 4-3-3, 3-4-3, anything else, not a proper formation in my books. Get rid of it.
You're right. You're right. I think 4-4-2 today has its place. You know what I mean? It has its place because sometimes you might need a 4-4-2 just to sort of like stiffen thing up. You know what I mean? But 4-4-2 is not my go-to. It's not something in there so yeah, that's first in my mind, really. Do you know what I mean? And like as you said, 4-3-3. The only problem with the 4-3-3 is that you naturally hold a high line. Do you know what I mean? And you have to have the players that they fresh enough to actually be running back 20 yards all the time. You know what I mean? And that could take a toll on players. Again, as you're seeing with Liverpool, do you know what I mean? It's taking a toll of playing that high line all the time. Do you know what I mean? You know, some of the players now can't get back. So then you'll opt for a 4-2-3-1, which then when you play the 4-2-3-1, you automatically drop by about 20 or 30 yards. You understand me? Do you know what I mean? And it's good for defending and it's good for attacking. So it's good in both ways. Three at the back is good because you can get your fullbacks and they high up the field and everything like that, and then sort of like your back three and everything that could cover your space until you get back. Do you understand what I'm saying? Or
it didn't work for us this season. Well, for us, we've been playing three in the back almost every game.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. But what you can do in the like, if you got like if you're playing three at the back and everything, your defensive midfielder can come back, drop into sort of like the three defenders and stuff. Then you got like literally at the day you got like a four-man back four and everything that right until your fullback comes back and everything that then he goes back into his place. So three at the back is very good. I don't know why at the end of the day Klopp doesn't play it, but that's a different show. Do you know what I mean?
Hendo can't do it for Trent no more. He can't do that running back.
No, he can't. No,
it's like us. We don't have Kante. It's like, why are we doing this without Kante? There's no point. Like you guys, Hendo's not the same. He ain't got the legs no more. There's no point.
I don't know why. I don't know why he persists in playing 4-3-3. But and then they're saying that, you know what I mean? 4-4-2 is not my go-to one. You know what I mean? But
old school football, bruv. Robbie Fowler and Michael Owen. That's some old school football formation.
Yeah. You know what? And then the 4-4-2, and then they worked at a certain time. You know what I mean? But now at the day, I think people have elevated from that. Do you know what I mean? You know, like when we was playing, I remember one time we played 4-4-2 against Valencia and I think that, right? And that's when they had Rafa Benitez. And Rafa Benitez and they were just pulling our players out of position every time because he played a 4-5-1. Do you know what I mean? He was just pulling out. So 4-4-2 to me has had its time. I don't think it's in a modern game. You can't really play that now and hope for victory.
A few more people's entered the chat. I'll just say hello. Hey there, Static. Thank you for coming in. Hope that you are well. Hey there, Luman. I hope you are well. Thank you for coming into the chat. Hey there, John Hand. I've not had the time today, but I'll listen to your voice notes as soon as. And hey there, Samir. I'm very well, thank you. I hope that you are well also. What I thought I'd do, because I've got two leagues up, one of the Premier League table, one of the Bundesliga table. So I thought we'd do it where one season they played the false nine, how many points, and then the same with a striker. See what the difference is. So which one do you want to look at first, Bundesliga or Premier League?
Bundesliga, man.
Yeah, bring up his
Bundesliga,
league.
Man.
That's your former league. When he was in Germany, he used to watch it.
Yeah, he used to watch it in Germany all the time, man. Some good games.
I've got the Bundesliga up here from Bayern Munich when they had Lewandowski, and you could see there was clear of winning the title. They won it, and they won clear 77 points. So, and you look at that, and you think that. Everyone said that Lewandowski, he was the main person there in that Bayern Munich squad.
He was.
And now we look at the Bundesliga now, for this season, Bayern is top, but they're only 2 points apart from Borussia Dortmund. Do you think that could be the change of the false nine approach? Because you're looking at Thomas Muller playing as a false nine, you've looked at Mane playing as a false nine, and it's not suited, or is it just everything else what's gone wrong? What do you think about that, Naz?
I almost want to see the other one because I'm thinking, I mean, this season's not. Is there another season where that they didn't do a false? I mean, they've had Lewandowski for so long that they always have one up the front.
You look at 2020 as well, dominated the league completely. 2019, the same. They've always dominated. Well, the last time they didn't dominate the league was 2018-19, only 2 points.
Whoa, okay. I mean, they got lucky as well. Lewandowski never got injured. Even now for Barcelona, he though he gets injured, he's always good. I'm thinking as well right now of Haaland, who's basically a younger version, probably better than Lewandowski, and they're not even top of the table. You know what I'm saying? So I you know, it could be the false nine. I mean, the false nine. Do you get more goals at the end? How many goals? What's the goal difference? Do they get higher goal differences? What's their goal difference this season?
The goal difference this season, Bayern Munich scored 76. Borussia Dortmund scored 57.
That's a lot of goals still, you know. I thought you'd get more when you spread them out. Every man get 10, 15, 20 goals, like between the top 3-4 top goal scorers. But, I mean, if you're going to get some crazy goal charge like Suarez had or Lewandowski, they themselves, like, imagine the 76 goals and they got 45. They got almost like, 35 or 40. They got like 70% of it. So they got the right guy. Nothing beats a striker on fire for me. I just don't see it. If a striker's on fire, he's fit and he's firing.
Yeah, he's gonna.
He that.
I remember that. Do you remember that game when I can't remember who Bayern Munich was playing, and there was a goal down, and they brought on Lewandowski. Pep Guardiola was there, and they brought on Lewandowski, and I think that right. And he scored 5 goals in under 10 minutes. Even Pep Guardiola was like this. He couldn't believe what was happening. He come on, and everything he touched, everything he touched went into the back of the net. Seriously, it was unbelievable to see. Unbelievable.
Even Suarez, bro. Suarez had the same season, but I'm sure you guys scored more goals without Suarez. 2 seasons at least, where your goal tally the season before and the one before that, you guys scored like 100 goals, no? Between the front 3 or 4 or something like that.
That was way after. That was way after.
That's Barcelona stats.
Yeah, that was way after. Probably when Klopp come in, we done that. But
I'm saying after, like Mo Salah, Firmino.
Yeah.
We got more goals than Suarez. You know, that's one thing to say. If you got a good false nine system going on, you'll get some goals spread it out against the top 3. But if you got that superstar striker, it's almost the same to me, to be honest. But I don't know, man. Haaland is the proof, though. This season, they're not top of the table, but Haaland's doing extremely well.
Yeah.
That almost gives you a semi-answer, but it is an arguable case.
I'm looking at the top goal scorers for the Bundesliga from last season compared to this season, especially for Bayern Munich's case.
Yeah.
And if you do look at the top goal scorers, so we'll look at it this season, their top goal scorer is actually attacking midfielder Jamal Musiala with 11 goals.
Former Chelsea, but I'm telling you, like, they're struggling this season, Bayern Munich, right? They're struggling. They're not in La La Land. They got Tuchel in all of a sudden because they said they're struggling. So the second their top striker goes, along with that, this is the proof the other way. Your top striker goes, you're going to suffer more. But then you bring a top striker in Man City, and they're doing slightly worse. But truthfully, you might want to say Arsenal's doing so well that it makes Man City look bad. When really, any other season, Man City will be flying away with the league. But I don't know. It's a weird one, right?
Slightly going on to Arsenal, Naz, would you class Jesus as a false 9 or a striker? Because Pep's always seen him more as a striker, but Jesus wanted to play as a winger.
I feel like he's moving to a false 9 now. He started the season like, I'm going to get this many goals. And then he thought, you know what, let me start bringing Amanda in. Got injured, just came back now. And it looks like he wants to feed other people. If he gets a goal, he gets a goal. He's going to take penalties, which is going to help him. But he's not going to become even half of what Haaland gets. I know the injury plays a big part in that, but I feel like he flips it. He flips it. I reckon he's a versatile because he switches to like, I'm going to be the main man. And then sometimes, especially the bigger game, I see him going, let me do a false nine. Because Pep didn't like him as the main man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. He was the backup striker for a striker that didn't have.
Even when Aguero left, that was deep. How what he done to him, like.
Even though like Aguero like ruined my childhood when he scored that last minute goal, and I felt like crying.
Oh my days.
He was a fantastic striker, and I couldn't really hate on him. But looking at the last season goal scorers for the Bundesliga, Lewandowski cleared 35 goals. And you can see that Erling Haaland's already broke his record.
Well, he got injured, Haaland, right?
He got injured
last season. Yeah, so I'll allow him a little bit. Who's the second brother? Patrick Sick.
He's a Bayern Leverkusen player. I'm sure he's a striker.
Leverkusen, they're actually doing well.
Oh, yeah, he's a striker for Bayern Leverkusen. Yeah.
I'm shocked no one's talking about him. Is he doing bits this season as well? Because Bayern Munich, I know Bayern Leverkusen are doing well. They beat Bayern Munich a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, no one's really spoke about him, have they really? So,
and Nkunku, the future Chelsea player, right there, fourth in the list. But he's also got a lot of assists. That's what I love about Nkunku.
Yeah, he's a fantastic player.
Who's Nkunku? Leverkusen.
Yeah, he's fourth. No, RB. He was RB last season. Even this season, he got injured, so he's a bit down on the stats. But hopefully, he comes fit and as a fiddle to Chelsea. But I want to see the Premier League now. We've digressed the Bundesliga. Let's see what the Premier League's saying.
Yeah, let's look at the Premier League. So we'll start off last season. We know that Manchester City won the league. They only lost 3 games, 93 points, fantastic amount of points. The same with the season before. They finished on 86 points. Basically, walked the league because Aguero didn't really play. And then you're looking at this season now. Now they've got an out and out striker playing. They're in second place.
I mean, it might all end the same. I mean, if they continue and they get like another 20, 30 goals, you could say the goal difference is better. But if Liverpool do beat Arsenal this week, Lampard does a Lampard and beats them in the Emirates. Man City might just end. Is this a 100-point season? Let me think.
No, you know what it is though. I think you got to allow Man City a bit because, obviously, Haaland just coming into the league. He's got to find his feet and that, but he seemed to have found his feet now. Do you know what I mean? So it's always going to be the case at the day that sort of like, obviously, Arsenal was going to be up there and stuff. But if this was like a normal season, and Haaland been in it for like 1 or maybe 2 seasons and that, right? And what pains me and what fears me today, Haaland's probably scoring more goals than what he's got now.
No, I can't see that happening. This must be This must be the season that he gets all.
No. Haaland's Haaland. You know what? You know what it is? When Haaland was at Salzburg, was it Salzburg? Yeah, he was at Salzburg.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah, he was at Salzburg, and when he was there, he was scoring goals there. He was doing a mazza there. Do you know what I mean? That's one of the reasons why it's sort of like. A, at the day, his dad used to play for Man City, and B, at the day, he was scoring some goals out there still. And I think at the day, look, if he's doing what he's doing now, and he's just coming to the in Premiership, next season's going to be a mad thing, dog.
Do you want me to bring up Erling Haaland's stats, like for all every single league he's been in?
Yeah, try. See what I've got.
If you can.
So
Arsenal might get 100 points, man. If they get 100 points, you can't say nothing. But if they get like 90 points and they win it, that means Man City just blew up.
You can see here, Haaland's had 28 goals in the league in 26 matches. He's had 10 goals in 6 matches in the Champions League, 1 goal in 2 matches in the EFL Cup, and then looking at Dortmund. He was averaging in basically a goal a game in what he was playing in the Bundesliga as well. And then the same for Salzburg. He is 2 seasons. He had 14 matches, 16 goals.
Done. And he's a machine. And he's Norway. Let me see the Norway national stats. Did you check that
let's
already?
see that. Yeah, it is Norway stats. He's only ever had. It looks like he doesn't really play for Norway because what I've been hearing, Ireland's always injured for
every
Norway.
game. He's played for them. Spurs a machine.
He's not nice. He's not. I told you, he's a monster. He's not real.
He's a robot.
Not real. He's not real.
The only way you can stop him is if what happens to his dad happens to him. We need Kane, Roy Keane back in the game, mate.
No, but that ain't it.
I don't want to change your head upon anyone. I'm just joking.
I remember when Man United fans were saying about because obviously what happened with Roy Keane and Alf Haaland, we went Scott McTominay is going to be at Roy Keane to Erling Haaland.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I mean, Scottish Irish, but if he honestly, I don't see Haaland stopping. Maybe once he's become like big boned, like because when you're 22, 23, you're just light. It's like your bones aren't that thick. But when you become 27, 28, you gain some weight, like maybe then he'll just slow down. But by then, he'll probably be at Madrid in the easy league, you know?
Mm-hmm. It's really weird because with Erling Haaland, he's got all the goals, but Man City have said that they're not performing well because all the goals are getting fed to Erling Haaland. Because they're looking at last season where they won the league and everyone was scoring. De Bruyne was scoring. You've seen Foden playing as a false nine. You've seen Grealish used as a false nine a few times, even though Grealish didn't score hardly. But this season, they're complaining. I've seen complaints that they're not doing so well because they don't have the multiple goal scorers. It's Erling Haaland or nothing.
Yeah, they should. I don't know. They should just experiment and just play Haaland in the Champions League. Because one thing we do know for sure, whatever Pep didn't work for the last whatever season in the Champions League. But the 2 games I've seen him play without Haaland, they destroyed it. They even play more fluid, but that's just my outside opinion. A lot of City fans will shut up and play Haaland every game. Bro, save his energy for the big games in the Champions League. You know, maybe the striker's better there because that false nine seems to be clocked on with the tactics, low blocks involved. I don't know what happens, but they get clocked out all the time in Champions League, whether it's semis or the finals against us. I still think they should put save Haaland, bro. Save it. And he got injured already, right? So the last thing you want is Haaland to get injured again. That's the last thing you want as a City person.
You're right. You're right in one way. I think certain games at the day, and I think it depends who you play. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It depends who you play.
Yeah, you're right.
Some teams will make it easy for like we did the other day for Man City. We literally made it easy for them.
So did we, bro. They beat us 4-0 without Haaland.
Yeah, that's what I say. So I'm not making an excuse for sort of like our team Liverpool. We got beaten fair and square, but we did make it easy for them. Do you know what I mean? We made Grealish look like sort of like what we made Grealish look like I don't know what Benzema. We made him look like Benzema.
He looked like Gascoigne in his prime.
Yeah, it's true. We just gave him license to do anything he wants. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that today Grealish is a shit player. I'm not saying that, but he's not that good that he looked good the other day. Do you understand what I'm getting at? You look right, exactly. Do you know what I mean? You know the team. So I think sometimes at the day, right, depends on what team you're playing. Some teams can make it easier for you to do what you want to do, what your game plan is set out to do, and everything. Do you know what I mean? Because
I agree with that.
It's true, and you know what I mean. And like, or some teams that they say that, well, look, we're not going to make it easy for you, and everything like, we're going to close off all the spaces at the day that you can get into. Do you know what I mean? We're not going to make it easy for you, but so it depends on what team you're playing, really. To be honest, whether you go play Haaland or whether you don't. You know what I mean?
I agree with that, and I'm thinking of the game this season where we lost against Man City 6-3, and it's just pure vibes in that first half, giving 2 players hat tricks. But but in terms of the game, what I found was the tempo changed when we used the false nine, and I agree with Rodz in that respect that you do need to change the person at the top differently each game, because if you're going to be playing against Sean Dyche, like the kind of manager Sean Dyche is, he's like I literally said to Football Power Hour today that Sean Dyche is basically the Premier League version of Diego Simeone with the budget. That's
Okay.
basically what he is. It's
Facts.
horrible. It's horrible to play against. It's horrible negative football. And I feel like you need a striker in that kind of game. Because you're going to have to rely on like set pieces and corners to try and get goals out of them, because it is literally very hard for a false nine to get through them.
No, facts. You facts. That's unbelievable facts in the film, because
I've never thought about that one. That's a sick. I'm gonna say that I'm Sean Dyche and I like to play like Diego Simeone.
But as I say, like Sean Dyche and everything that, right? All right, Sean Dyche one day manages his team and plays his team to his strengths. You know what I mean? He knows he's not as slick as like your Jurgen Klopp, Guardiola, even your Ten Hag, for instance. He knows he's not as slick as their Monday and everything that, right? So he plays to his strengths. He plays the team to his strengths. And that means that they suck the life out of a game. He will literally suck the life out of a game and everything that. And then when you least expecting him from that, he'll score a goal. And then he go back to sort of like the defense. It's a bit like Roy Hodgson. Roy Hodgson at the day, right? And this is the thing with Roy Hodgson and everything that, right? Roy Hodgson at the day will set his team up like 4-4-2, hard to be beat and everything that, right? But the problem is at the day, right, is when you score a goal against them now, what do they do then? There's no plan B. There's no plan B to get back in the game. And I see that with Sean Dyche and everything that, right? Certain times at the day, right? I mean, obviously apart from sort of like Spurs, but Spurs and they were telling themselves, yeah, they've been woeful this season. You understand what I'm saying, yeah? But most of the time that day, when Sean Dyche has got his team and he goes one goal down, he ends up losing that game. Do you know what I mean? Or the most he probably get is a draw, and that's on sort of like rare occasions. He ends up losing that game because what he does, and he sets his team up hard to be beat. Yeah, but there's no plan B if you do go down, because every team can go down. It's just how you bounce back.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about that, Naz?
Now you got me interested. I wish I saw Sean Dyche at a big club now, just to see how he'll do there. Obviously, Everton's, and all the rest of the club. No offense to them, but if they go down, they're pretty much done for anyway. Like, no matter who the manager is. Like, honestly, when you described him, I was like, oh, he sounds like an old Chelsea manager. I wouldn't even mind him, but we used to do the same thing. We used to do the same thing back in the day. That little dead 1-0 football, trying to hold on, trying to rough the team out, get into them. It's such a defensive game. And this new game now, boy, it's all about the goals, all about the attack patterns, all about the style. I do like Sean Dyche. I'm actually a big fan of him, But,
yeah. I like Sean Dyche. I think he's a great manager, because I think he put Burnley in a very good position a few years ago, putting him into Europe football. Like, that's something that you'll never see ever again.
And he never got them relegated, right? He left just before that.
I think
did he get them relegated?
No,
did he sack him just before he got relegated? I'm like, technically he never got relegated, but I don't know. If Sean Dyche wasn't English, I would have him at Chelsea. I'm not even joking, but right now I just don't want another English manager. I don't want another German manager. Let's go completely the opposite way, man. Let's go to some kind of Italian or Spanish flair. But man, I digress.
I'm guessing you're not happy with the Frank Lampard appointment.
I mean, no one's happy. You're just like, okay, well, fine then. You got nothing to play for. I just think it's impossible to win a Champions League. If you got someone else, the Champions League talk might be it was always gas. It's always hot air. We're not going to win it, but sometimes a bit of hot air is nice. With Lampard, it's like, no, that's just a cold mist. Now we all know it's impossible. Since they renamed the Champions League, it's almost like an English person can't win it. Like, I always think, how the F haven't anyone won the Champions League or the Premier League to be as well, who's been born in this country? So that's the only thing. Sometimes I think Todd Bowley doesn't even know stuff like this. He probably doesn't even know the history, the little nuances, the little histories like that. Like, even though they're basic knowledge. But I'm not too happy with Frank Lampard. I mean, whatever he's to do his thing with the Mandem, Cole, JT, Drogba apparently wants to come. Maybe he helps with little stuff like contracts, make players rediscover themselves, make sure certain players leave, like Aspilicueta, Pulisic or whatever. By playing all these players, he's going to play Mendy, he's going to play Mount, he's going to play Pulisic. Here's a big old double-edged sword. Either you stab yourself or you kill the opposition. You know, and I'm part of the opposition. I'm like, if Pulisic started banging in goals, I'll be like, well, he shot on my face. You know, I was dissing him all season, like not all season, but after the World Cup, I was like, this guy does it for America. You know, gets taken out, doesn't get injured. The second the baby tackle's done for Chelsea, he's done for. So I'm not going to rip into him too much, but there's a few players that are either going to slay the dragon, metaphorically, and become champions and heroes, which I expect. I think Kante is going to do what he done with Pogba. You know, he was the key for Pogba. You saw how Pogba was for France. Kante just unlocks him. Bloop. He could do the same for Mason Mount. Mason Mount get a purple patch, get a couple of goals, get a couple of assists, play well, sign his new contract along with Kante. That way, you know. Here we go. Naz. Maisy would love Mount at United and in the shirt. You guys, I can't believe you in Liverpool want him. I'm like, is this serious?
We won't pay 70 mil for him. But to be honest, right, I've literally got an England shirt and I've got Mason Mount on the back of my shirt because I really like Mason Mount. So I'd be just literally like gassed to the top of my head thinking, I'm going to get Mason Mount on my shirt. What's the Glazers leave?
Mason Mount on your shirt, man. I can't believe you're ready to take that commitment. You have to wait at least till he scores a couple of goals. It's like the people that got Anthony shirts. I was so sold on Anthony. I'm not even a United fan. I was like, oh man, they got this sick Italian guy from Holland, a Brazilian guy. And I was like, we dodged the bullet on that one. So
imagine Anthony in a false nine. Oh, that would be dreadful. That would just be all vibes in the game.
Bro, you know what? I wanted Anthony and Nunes. I was like, how did we not get any of these guys? We got Aubameyang. But part of me like, okay, good thing we dodged Anthony, but I'll still have Nunes. I'll still have taken him. But now we're linked to that next guy, the new Nunes, gone Carlos Ramos. Apparently, you're interested as well. We're always interested in the same player, Victor Osimhen, Ramos.
I'd rather have Osimhen. I do like Ramos, but I think he needs to stay in Liga Portugal for at least another season. Do you know, so we can unlock properly because it's his first season. He's the proper main man at Benfica. I think that he needs to get used to the actual role itself and develop further into his role because he's still only very young. And I think for me, Liga Portugal is the best league in the world for developing players and bringing their careers back on track.
I mean, even just buying all the players we brought from Benfica, I rate them. Like, we can't think of David Luiz, Matic. Now we got that new guy Enzo. Fernandez. These Benfica boys seems to pop off when they come to the UK, when they come to London, especially Stamford Bridge. So I'm all in for going Carlos Ramos. And I also think he's a dark horse. Like, he's gonna flip and score so many goals from now to the end, including Champions League. And I reckon he'll get to Istanbul. Everyone's saying, oh no, that side's Napoli. Napoli have gone through. You know, no one like, oh, it's Chelsea lose to Madrid, Man City, Bayern Munich's competitive. How about after that? But the other side, they're like, no, Napoli's done it. My football doesn't work like that. If anything, football works the opposite way. You think you go left, and then all of a sudden, power, they go right. So I can see Benfica going to the finals, and Ramos will cost like 100 mil, easy.
He's already costing 100 mil, Ramos, and that was from the World Cup. So imagine how much he's going to be costing if they actually did win the Champions League. It would be crazy.
Not win it. Hey, I said got to the finals. Relax.
Yeah.
They can go to Istanbul. They're not doing the Liverpool legendary night there, man. He go to the finals. He scored his goals, and then hopefully comes Chelsea. You guys can have Victor Osimhen. Good luck getting him from those bloody Napoleons. The only thing they want to sell us is pizzas. You know, Napoli pizzas.
That's all that.
That's the only thing they sold us Koulibaly at age 31. They tricked us. Completely bamboozled us, like.
You know what? I said the exact same thing. You got robbed off that Napoli.
31.
You got robbed.
How much did you pay for him?
Like 35 mil.
So it's strong, isn't it?
It's 35 mil. I was paying them 200 racks a week. And he's getting bonuses. Like, I'm like, he's not getting on those bonuses. He ain't getting no goal score. He ain't getting no clean sheet bonuses. This bro hasn't seen a bonus. He's only getting 200 racks straight, but either way, it's too much for me, man.
It's still good money, though, isn't it?
That Chelsea, man. They saw Thiago Silva and they thought, oh, he could last till 39. So I'm like, there's only one Thiago Silva in all of history of mankind. There's never been a defender that's played over 35 and he's good. Doesn't work. So this guy, I'm not going to rip into Koulibaly too much. It's his first season.
Well, I ripped into him enough on my channel.
Well, you can have him, man. Yeah, I hope United comes.
No, thank you.
United
I like copying the chat calls in Cooley Bramble.
Cooley Bramble, you know.
That's a good one, right? Remember Bramble from Newcastle? That was a joke, man.
But the thing is, what I tried to tell people in the day, right? Apart from a very, very, very few. What you got to realize at the day with the Italian league, it's much more slow slow and less physical than the Premiership. Where it's in the in Serie A, you probably get 3 or 4 touches of the ball. Yeah. When these people come to England now, they find out they're not even getting that. They're getting 1 touch if they're lucky.
That's it.
1 touch of the ball if lucky. So you find out a lot of them at the day with away. Do you know what I mean? That's why a lot of Argentinians, they like to go to Italy because at the day they get a chance to show their skill. They don't really get that chance at the end of the day to sort of like in the Premiership. You know what I mean? You understand what I'm saying? The reason why Sergio Aguero did so well because at the end of the day, he came from Independiente. Yeah, we was linked with him. Liverpool was linked with him. He came from Independiente, Atletico Madrid, then Man City. Do you know what I mean? So you already knew what to do. Do you know what I mean? But the Italian league's much more slower. So I would think twice about getting players from the Italian league into the club and everything that. Do you know what I mean? Because it's more physical than the Serie A, and they find out they wither away. They don't want it. Like when we got that guy Alberto Aquilani. He must have lasted 1 season in the Premiership. Injured on and off in the squad, and he's crying that he wanted to go back to Italy. Do you know what I mean? He's literally crying before he wanted to go back to Italy. He went to Italy on loan, went to Juventus on loan, and then they with the option to buy. Juventus didn't buy him. He went to AC Milan on the same thing, option to buy him. I don't even know where he ended up next. Do you know what I mean? After that, but
there's an Italian flop every season in the Premier League. Every season, right now it's us two again. We got Melo and Zakaria, bro. That's just robbery, man. Both are lucky they're on loans. They're gonna go back, but I just don't trust that Italian league no more. Look what they've done. We brought Lukaku from there, thinking this is the highest potential Lukaku. Comes to the Premier League, gains £30 or whatever. Just terrible, man. But look, guys, I do have to actually bounce out, man. I don't want to end it. I don't want this Lukaku, because he's from racist abuse. Big up, to him standing up to the crowd. I hope Juventus get more than partial match ban or whatever they got with their crowd.
They won't though. They won't.
I know it's Italy, bro. You think Italy doing that kind of stuff? Nah, man. Italy, they're the least on that, anti-racism. They're trying. I'm not saying they're not trying, but they're the last on the list.
Listen, what it was, this happened before, This happened before with Juventus. And who was Allegri, I think his name was, right?
Yeah.
Their place was getting racial abuse. And Allegri at the end of the day blamed his own players. Can you see the sense? He blamed his own players, Like to say, well, he's basically at the end of the day, literally saying that it's their fault they got racial abuse. Huh?
Nah, that's sneaky, man. Let's not go down the political kind of worms. What is Italy? I've been there a few times when I go to Morocco, They're not the kindest people when they're trying to fill up petrol in the stations. Let's just say that. But guys, I'm going to go out on that note.
Do you want to quickly shout out your socials as well before you go?
My what?
Your socials. Would you like to shout out?
Yeah, it's literally CFCOG W6. The W6 come from West 6 London. CFCOG W6 on Twitter mainly and Instagram. But Twitter, I'm always doing spaces. I'm always doing these crazy funny tweets. Holler at me. You can get me on your show if you ever want again. But right now, I'm actually going to go on a little MMA podcast. I forgot about it. So let me go jump on them one as well, man. There's a big fight tomorrow. If anyone listens to this season, take care, guys.
Thank you.
Big up, man. Big up, OG. Big up, OG every time.
Thank you.
Fine, no problem.
So what we'll do, Rods, we'll go into the questions and then we'll wrap up ourselves as well. I think it's been a great debate today as well because we've managed to go through quite a lot in this 50 minutes.
Facts.
Hey there, Football Talk Podcast. I hope that you are well. Thank you for coming into the chat. And hey there, George G. Thank you for coming in. I hope that you are well. So we'll go into the questions here. Question from Robert: do you see, as the game is evolving and the traditional styles of formation, the traditional number 9 is needed, how players are used? I think for me, I don't know about you, but the false 9, it tends to work with certain managers.
Yeah, it does. It does tend to work with certain managers. I think certain managers managers got a technical eye for it. They literally got a technical eye for it because, as I say, I'll go back to the Man City game. They literally played with two number 9s, didn't they? They literally played with 2 number 9s that day because they used Alvarez as a number 9, and who else did they have? I'm sure it was KDB they used as a 9 as well. But they used 2 players as a 9 in the thing, and it works out well. It does depend on the manager and how technical that manager is and everything that, and he can how results he can get out of games. Because all right, if we go away for the 9 and everything that, right? Brendan Rodgers at the day at Liverpool, he tried the 3 at the back. He's constantly trying the 3 at the back and that, but he didn't know how to play it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Then you got other managers at the day that sort of like was being with Chelsea and stuff like that. That sort of like can get the best out of 3 at the back. Do you know what I mean? Stuff like Man United have played 3 at the back as well, and they've got the best out of it. Do you know what I mean? You know, so it depends. It depends on the manager how technically savvy he is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you know,
I agree. Agreed with that completely. And that actually already answered Ravi's next question about the false 9. If managers prefer that. Niall said, "Do you see Haaland as a false 9 or a striker?" 100% a striker for me.
Yeah, he's a striker. He's a striker. He's a Gary Lineker, mate. He's a Gary Lineker. He'll poach that ball and everything that. And you know, and he sometimes he'll get you that sort of like, you know, that goal outside the area, but most of the time it can be that poaching goal and stuff. Yeah, man, he's an out and out striker, no doubt.
And Giroud, another one, he's a out and out striker again for me.
Yeah, he is. Because remember, you can see him like sort of like in the World Cup and everything like. See what he done in the World Cup. Remember, and he was against England, he was constantly in that box trying to pick up the balls, and you know what I mean, and you know, get a goal, and he did get that goal and stuff. So yeah, for me at the end of the day, sort of like yes, he's a striker. He is a striker.
And the thing is, it's good that you touched on about France because. Like Giroud does not play like he's 36 years old, and and you'd think as well that they would use Mbappe as a striker, and I think they probably would have done if they didn't have so many injuries in that squad.
Yeah. I mean, what you notice that you get phenomenal players. So phenomenal players with longevity. Do you know what I mean? They just go on and on. I mean, look at Paul Scholes and everything that, right? He played up till he's 38 in midfield. 38 years old. I mean, even like Sir Alex Ferguson called him back, didn't they? Because you know, it's a phenomenal. Some players at the day, you know what I mean? No matter how old they get, nothing like they just all right. We'll take Milner, and then not many people will like Milner because they want to see something younger. But I'm telling you something, nothing like certain times at the end of the day, this season alone, Milner's come on the pitch, and you know he's got the fittest out the whole people on the pitch. And you got to figure out some of the players on the pitch. He's probably nearly 20 years older than them, and he looks fitter than them. Do you know what I mean? So it's that some players that they can give you that longevity and stuff, and you know what I mean, and be like just as, like when they first come into like play football, just amazing. Do you know what I mean?
Milner for me, like. He's been to every single club I've disliked. And the thing is that he can literally play anywhere on the pitch. Like, if he gets that instruction off the manager, can you play here? Can you play there? He will literally play anywhere. He can play as a midfielder. He's even slotted in as a right back before for cover for Trent Alexander-Arnold and left back as well.
Yeah. He played as left back for a whole season. Remember? Before we got Andy Robertson, he played as left back for a whole season. He's that sort of player, and he's put it this way, he's your model pro. He's all what you want out of a pro. You know what I mean? Because as you said, you give him instructions on what position you want to play, and he'll play it. It doesn't matter if you told him to play as a goalkeeper and everything. He'll play as a goalkeeper. He's just that sort of guy. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, there's not many of those people around these days that you can say, well, look, you can bank on them to sort of like do anything that's being asked of them. Do you know what I mean? I think that's an era at the end of the day that's slowly going nearly gone. Do you know what I mean?
Question from Rabbit. Do you see some of the so-called smaller teams in the Premier League Europe playing with a false nine?
Then again, it depends. Again, it depends on like the manager's technical
formations
and stuff. You know what I mean? It's just like, because it's all good at the end of the day, sort of like playing a number 9, but is the manager able to do that? Do you know what I mean? Is it at manager and they able to get the results out of playing with a false 9? Because look at this, yeah. If you're a manager and I think that right of a team, and you play with a false 9 and you play 10 games in a thing that right, and out of those 10 games you play with a false 9, you only win like 3 games and you lose 7 in the day. For the next 10 games in the thing, you're not going to play with a false 9, are you? You're not going to do it. You're going to go back to what probably did work for you, and which would be a striker. Do you know what I mean? So it depends on sort of like the manager. If the manager and they can actually sort of like get the best out of playing a false 9 with a good formation and all those things that come great with playing a false 9.
Samir has asked, how do you think Burnley will do in the Premier League? I think for me, they are going to need massive backing. I don't think it's necessarily the manager, because I think that Vincent Kompany's done a fantastic job. But you're looking at Burnley, they've signed players from League One, Championship. They've got a couple of loanee players. That's great. But you look at, for instance, who's Brentford. A lot of their players easily adapted to the Premier League, but they also brought in some players like Damsgaard, for instance, who was able to make that a little bit of a difference. And you look at, for instance, Leeds, they made a fair few signings in that in the first season, and that helped them to be a fantastic team. And I think the thing is with Burnley, they're gonna need to strengthen the squad massively, because I think with the current squad that they've got, I think that they would be fighting the relegation in the Premier League. That's nothing to disrespect Burnley when I say this. It's just that the squad is fantastic for the Championship, but I don't think it's Premier League quality right now.
No, you're right. I mean, to be honest, at the day, you know what I mean? It's like they got to think of it as a step up. You know what I mean? It's different from the sort of like Championship. It's a level up, and then so you have to sort of like adjust to that league, and that means that they bringing in. You don't have to go crazy. Just bringing a couple of players at the day in key areas in the day, right? That can get you to sort of like get you like a sustainability in the Premier League, that you can be there next season, and then the following season, and then you bring in a few more players and just build as you go along. But you are going to need sort of like a couple of players in your squad, and then from that sort of like knows what the sort of like the Premiership is all about. So basically, say at the day a team gets relegated from the Premiership at the end of the day, right, and goes on Championship, and like Burnley's coming up. What Burnley should do is take a couple of players from that relegated team. Because at least those players there in that team have had a taste of the Premiership and they know what it's about and everything like that. So that's what they need. They're going to need to get in the few players, because as you said, Vincent Kompany's done an excellent job there at Burnley. He's done an excellent job.
He's had a bit of a taste of playing against Premier League clubs, but I know it's hard playing against both Man United and Man City. So it's not necessarily you'd know where the level would be, because he hasn't played against like a Nottingham Forest or a Leeds or a Crystal Palace to decide on it. Was it that much of a massive difference, or is it just the fact that they could be good enough in the Premier League? And knowing that they're ripping up the Championship, they are definitely deserving of that Premier League spot. But I completely agree with you. They don't need to go crazy, but they do need to have some great additions. And I think it would be good to get even some loanees from Premier League clubs who are real Premier League proven players. you're looking at, for instance, like I know like Nottingham Forest signed Jesse Lingard on a 1-year deal just for that Premier League proven. I'm not necessarily saying get Jesse Lingard, but someone on that kind of caliber who's won trophies for your club and been in high table of the league, and I think that kind of experience will help you in that, especially in season 1.
Yeah, of course it would. They just got to look at certain clubs at the end of the day in the Premiership and look at clubs that players that know who's playing who. Do you know what I mean? If a player at the end of the day is not getting a much play and everything, then you approach them and they say, look, can we take him on loan and stuff? Do you know what I mean? To give him game time and things like that. Yes, you know what I mean. Loanies from the sort of like the Premiership will be great just to get them sort of like that Premiership sustainability. And then the following season, and they can look to bring in sort of like, more permanent players, do you know what I mean, to their squad and that. You know what I mean? Because like other players in that team has had a taste of the Premiership. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so they are going to need him, but not a lot though.
Yeah. Ravi has got a question. Have you watched much of the Portuguese league, just to ask, Rodz, for you?
So I did some. I've always been a lover of the Portuguese league. I mean, I watched Benfica quite a few times. Porto, I've watched. Sporting Lisbon, I've watched. Obviously, not as much as yourself because you know a lot about Portuguese football. I'm always saying that on my channels, and there you got good knowledge of Portuguese football. But I did a few Sundays. I did sort of like European Game of the Week, and I did have Sporting Lisbon on one time and stuff. And so I watch it, but not really a lot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go based off Sporting what Ravi has asked me because Sporting have played different ways this season because everyone knows my favourite player is Paulinho. He's an out-and-out number 9. And you look at, he's had people who's played up top. Rubenov, Marcus Edwards has played up top. He's played Pedro Gonzalez up top. He's played Trincao up top. He's played a couple of the youngsters up top, like Chiramena, he's called up top. He's got Rashini who could play up top. He's got plenty of false 9 options, but he only has Paulinho as the out-and-out number 9. And I think even though I love Paulinho as a player, in the league itself, I actually think for the way Sporting play, the actual false 9 is a better approach because Sporting isn't one of them teams who are dominant on the ball, who hold quite high possession. But you look at in the Champions League and the Europa League, that striker Paulinho has made a massive difference. You look at Tottenham, you look at Arsenal, he's made huge differences, and that's why I call him the King of North London.
I like it. I mean, you know what is when you look at the Portuguese league and everything, I think what it is, why they're lucky in a way is that they can get a lot of Brazilian players to come over and play.
Yes.
I mean, because of the language, both of them will speak Portuguese and that. Do you know what I mean? And then you can get the Spanish players in because the Portuguese language and the Spanish language is very similar. Some of the words are very similar. You know what I mean? You find out like a guy from Portugal can go to Spain and everything like that, right? And it'd be easy for him to learn the language and stuff. So they can get some good crop of players at the day from Brazil and obviously the South American countries and stuff. Do you know what I mean? So you're always going to see a baller or two in that league. Do you know what I mean? I remember when I used to watch Benfica a number of years ago, and they had that striker Gomez. Do you know what I mean? Gomez, and they had Luis Sal. Remember Luis Sal?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Luis Sal. Now these players, and they were very, very good players, and and I think some of the times that they did play the false 9. But what I noticed that they when I used to watch it anyway, they played with that striker most of the times. I mean, do you remember that guy that used to play for Porto, Jackson Martinez? Remember him? You know what I mean? Now he's an out-and-out striker and that. Do you know what I mean? And he done well for Porto. So I think at the end of the day, I would say from what I've seen in the Portuguese league, I think the striker suits them more than what he does the 9. Do you know what I mean? Because they are the way they play is just itching for a person to be up front to collect the ball and put it in the back of the net. Do you know what I mean? Not a person that's going to go looking for the ball and knit the play together. I think they more leave that down to their midfields to do that. Do you know what I mean? Much less than sort of like an attacker. Do you know what I mean? You know, so yeah, striker to me will probably suit the Portuguese league better from what I've seen anyway.
And we'll finish up with Amir's comment is, I would say no, that the false nine isn't the way forward for winning trophies, because there are so many teams that don't play with the false nine and win trophies still. With that comment, we will wrap it up. Thank you, Rodz, for coming on. It's been a fantastic show.
My pleasure. Listen, anytime you want me to show anything, you just holler and anything that, right? Holler. I don't know if you're free next Saturday. I'll shout you. We can jump on the panel debate show if you're free next Saturday. I'll shout you in the week anyway.
Yeah, shout me in the week. What day is next Saturday, the 15th? Yeah, I should be free anyway. I haven't got nothing on.
Yeah, cool. Jump on because I'll have Sophie on there anyway, so we can we could have a good little chop up on that. But listen, people, at the end of the day, right? This lady here she's doing some wicked content, man. Some nice content. She does women's football. She does Portuguese football. She does stuff. Man United, like Premiership. More can you ask for? What more can you ask for? What are you guys waiting for? There's 3 genres there, man. Come on now, man. Like and subscribe to my friend's channel. She's a friend of mine. She's a friend of my channel as well. You know what I mean? She's about one of the 2 Man United friends that I've got. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But yeah, please like and subscribe to Maisy's channel because she's doing some brilliant work, pushing out some really good content. And for that, I've enjoyed myself tonight. And like next time you're doing one of these shows and for that, just holler, I'm there. You know what I mean? Just holler, I'm there. So it's my pleasure being on. Thank
you so much for the lovely words as well, Rodz. I really appreciate it. I'm going to be looking at probably doing a debate show maybe once a month based off hot topics, because I was going to do one last month, but I was poorly. So the one that I was thinking of doing, which I probably will do again, and what I'm going to do again is about the new Champions League format, if it's good or bad. Because I think everyone looks at it as more of a bad thing, but there is some positives. Not many positives, but there is some positives there. Would you like to shout out your socials as well, Rodz?
Yeah, no problem. You can find me on YouTube and for that. It's fastly growing and it's fastly growing. As I said, I've had talked to Maisy backstage. I've had a mad weekend and day with the subscribers. I've had a lot of support and stuff. And I like to thank every one of my supporters from the bottom of my heart. I like to thank you very much. So you can find me on Anfield Uncle Rodz and they on YouTube. Okay, so just type that in and you'll find me on there. And you can find me on Instagram, the same Anfield Uncle Rodz, and also on Twitter, the same thing, Anfield Uncle Rodz. Come in and get involved, man. Get involved in the community and stuff, man. You know what I mean? Because it's a nice and friendly community. Get involved.
Yeah, I've put your link in the description below, so if you haven't already, go and subscribe to Rodz. Fantastic person, fantastic Liverpool fan with a great channel. And Rodz, he does do debate shows as well. He does do prediction shows, so it's not just all solely Liverpool stuff. So go and check out Rodz's channel. I've got it subscribed. I'm a Man United fan, and he's a great friend of mine. So if you're not a Manchester United fan, or a sportive fan, and you are and you've liked everything that you've heard today from Rodz, check him out. He's a fantastic person. So go and check Rodz's channel out as well as Chelsea OG. I'll be live next Tuesday next week. I'll be doing a preview for the Sporting game against Juventus. But until then, take care, everyone. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye bye. Stay blessed.